Alright, I'm going to show you how to install NCTOOLBOX. I'm assuming somebody said, hey, you should go install NCTOOLBOX. You're like, oh really? Okay, so what's NCTOOLBOX? So you go to NC, if you Google on NCTOOLBOX, it'll take you to the first link here, is the NCTOOLBOX page. And here you can find out that NCTOOLBOX is a MATLAB toolbox that can read a bunch of different types of files into a common with a common access mechanism. Okay, using this so-called common data model. Okay, so the idea is that NetCDF, whether it's NetCDF or OpenDAP or HDF5 or GRIB or GRIB2, you can open the file and work with the data the same way. Okay, which is pretty cool. So you can look at these links later on documentation, frequently asked questions, but right now we're just going to jump to this installation link. And we're going to follow the installation for most users, although I often take the risk takers, so-called risk takers, because it's the latest and greatest stuff. But okay, so I'm just going to jump right to the zip file. I'm going to click on it, and up here it has the link to actually download it. So I'm going to go ahead and save it to my disk. And let's see, I'm going to save it in my downloads directory. Go ahead and save it. And you might have noted that you need MATLAB 2008A or later, okay, for this to work. So I'm going to fire up MATLAB 2011B, and which is the happens to be the latest and greatest, but you don't need the latest and greatest. And so I'm going to slide it over here, and then I'm going to navigate to the directory where I downloaded that. Actually, I should go to that directory and unzip it, right? So here's my downloads directory, and let's see, there's my file. So I'm going to just unzip that into the same directory by dragging it over here. Okay, so now I've got an NCTOOLBOX downloads NCTOOLBOX folder. So I'm going to CD to that. And I'm going to see what's there, and what's there is something called Setup NCTOOLBOX. So I'm going to say Setup NCTOOLBOX, and these instructions are on the home page. It says NCTOOLBOX added to the MATLAB path, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to CD to the demos directory, and I'm going to run one of these demos just to see if things are working. So I'm going to run GeoDemo2, and GeoDemo2 is going to go off and access a remote ROMs data set, and for using OpenDAP, it's going to grab the surface, actually a 3D volume of temperature, and then it shows how you can go along a certain path and slice out a vertical slice, so along a path. And so it's really demonstrating that if you look at the code, I'm not going to go into it now, but you can see that the code actually, that this demo doesn't actually know anything about this being a ROMs model and that it's using a funny S coordinate. It just does calculates the vertical coordinate for you on the fly, no matter which model it's from, as long as it's CF compliant. And since it can do that, it can plot a vertical section along some arbitrary path, which is pretty cool. So that's the installation, and just to test to see if things are working. It looks like everything's working fine. So if you want to see more about how to use the NCTOOLBOX, check out the part 2.